Your legs are drooping, your shoulders are sinking, and you think you're doing an L-sit. You're not. If you're a guy between 20 and 40 who's been grinding calisthenics for months, maybe years, and that L-sit still looks more like a U-sit, this video is going to change everything. Because the problem isn't your strength, it's your mechanics. And I'm going to prove it to you in the next 10 minutes. Here's the thing nobody tells you. The L-sit is the single most misunderstood isometric hold in all of bodyweight training. 90% of people who attempt it are training the wrong muscles in the wrong sequence with the wrong body position. And the worst part, they don't even know it. So we're going to fix that right now. Here's the curiosity thread I want you to hold on to through this entire video. Why do elite gymnasts make the L-sit look effortless and you're shaking after 3 seconds? Same move, completely different outcome. The answer isn't just they're stronger. There's a specific neuromuscular sequence happening in their body that isn't happening in yours. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what that sequence is and how to train it. But first, let's talk about what the L-sit actually is, because I guarantee most of you have been thinking about it wrong for days. Chapter 1. What the L-sit actually is, what it isn't. Most people look at the L-sit and think, oh, it's a core exercise. And yeah, your core is involved. But calling the L-sit just a core exercise is like calling a Formula 1 car just a vehicle. Technically true, completely misses the point. The L-sit is a full-body isometric compression hold. Every single muscle group from your fingertips to your hip flexors has to fire simultaneously in a very specific pattern to keep that position locked. We're talking about your triceps pressing down, your shoulders depressing and protracting, your hip flexors pulling your legs up, your quads locking your knees straight, your abs bracing under load, all at the same time. That's not a core exercise. That's a full-body coordination test.
And here's where the lie starts. Because when your coach or some YouTube video tells you just work on your core strength, you go do planks and leg raises. And those are fine exercises, but they don't train the specific compression angle that the L-sit demands. In a plank, your hips are in a neutral position. In a leg raise, you're moving through a range of motion. But in an L-sit, your hip flexors are contracting hard against a fixed load at a 90-degree angle, while your arms are simultaneously pressing into the ground to lift your entire body weight. That combination, hip flexion under load plus vertical pressing, is almost never trained in isolation, which is exactly why people fail it. You're not weak. You're just undertrained in a very specific pattern. Chapter 2. The 4 mechanical failures destroying your L-sit. Let's get specific, because this is where most people's training completely breaks down. Failure number 1. Shoulder depression collapse. This is the big one. When you press into the ground for an L-sit, your shoulders need to actively push down, away from your ears. This is called scapular depression. But when you're untrained, the moment you try to lift your body weight, your shoulders creep up toward your ears instead. And the second that happens, your pressing mechanics fall apart. Your arms can't generate upward force efficiently. Your hips drop, and the whole position collapses. Here's the test. Right now, sitting wherever you are, push your hands into your thighs and try to lift your hips
Notice where your shoulders go. If they rise up, that's failure number 1. Failure number 2, passive hip flexors. This one is sneaky. Most guys have chronically tight but weak hip flexors from sitting at a desk all day. Tight and weak, that's a terrible combination for an L-sit. Because in the hold, you need your hip flexors to actively contract and hold your legs at 90 degrees against gravity. But if they're weak, your legs start to drop the moment you lift off the ground. And what do most people do? They compensate by tucking their knees, which turns the L-sit into a tuck hold. Completely different exercise, with completely different demands. Seeing the tuck hold is bad. It's actually a great progression. But if you're calling it an L-sit, you're lying into yourself. And your hip flexors are getting weaker every single session because of it.
Failure number 3, soft quads. This one sounds simple, but it wrecks more L-sits than almost anything else. Your knees need to be completely locked, fully extended for the L-sit to work mechanically. The moment your knees bend even slightly, the lever arm of your legs changes. Your hip flexors have to work exponentially harder to hold that position, and your legs look like they're drooping even when they're not. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Before you even attempt the hold, squeeze your quads as hard as you possibly can, like you're trying to push your kneecaps up your thigh. Hold that squeeze, then attempt the lift. Most people add 2 to 3 seconds to their hold time just from this one cue alone. That's not a small fix, that's a big deal. Failure number 4, and this one's going to sting a little, is forward lean. When your core isn't strong enough to maintain the position, your body cheats by leaning your torso forward over your legs. This reduces the angle between your torso and your thighs, which makes the hip flexor's job easier, but it also completely kills the training stimulus. You're essentially shortening the lever to make the exercise easier, while convincing yourself you're doing the real thing. A true L-sit has your torso completely vertical, spine neutral, chest up. If you're leaning forward more than a few degrees, most people are leaning 15 to 20, you're not in an L-sit. You're in a modified tuck lean, and your core knows the difference, even if you don't. So let's recap those 4 failures before we move into the fix. 1. Shoulders rising instead of depressing. 2. Passive hip flexors, letting legs drop. 3. Soft quads bending the knees. 4. Forward lean cheating the position. If you're doing any one of these, and statistically you're doing at least 2, your L-sit isn't actually training what you think it's training. But here's the good news. Every single one of these is fixable, and the progression I'm about to give you addresses all 4 in the right order in a way that builds the actual neuromuscular pattern you need. This is the part most people never get to because they quit out of frustration first. Don't be that person. Chapter 3. The real L-sit progression, built on mechanics, not just strength. Step 1 is scapular depression holds. Before you ever try to lift your body weight, you need to train your shoulders to push down on command. Sit on the floor with your hands flat beside your hips. Now push your hands into the ground and actively push your shoulders down, away from your ears, without lifting your body at all. Just feel the activation. Hold that depression for 5 seconds. Release, repeat. 10 reps. Do this every single day for 1 week. I know it sounds too simple,
But this single drill is the difference between an L-sit that works and one that collapses. You're essentially teaching your nervous system a movement pattern it's probably never been asked to do before. Step 2, the seated leg raise hold. This one directly targets those weak hip flexors in the exact angle the L-sit demands. Sit on the floor with your legs straight out in front of you, quads squeezed hard. Now lift one leg off the ground, just a few inches, and hold it there for 10 seconds. Don't let the knee bend. Don't let the foot drop. If your quad starts to shake, that's perfect. That's exactly where you need to be. Switch legs. Do 3 sets each side. After a week of this, move to both legs simultaneously. This is the specific hip flexor strength that planks and leg raises never build, because the angle is completely different. You're training the muscle at its shortened position under load. That's what the L-sit demands. Step 3, the tuck hold, but done correctly. Now we combine the shoulder depression from step 1 with the hip flexion from step 2. Get into a tuck position, hands on the floor, knees pulled toward your chest, feet off the ground. But here's the key. Before you lift, actively depress your shoulders, push them down hard. Then brace your core like you're about to take a punch. Then lift. Hold for 5 seconds. Rest for 10. That work-to-rest ratio is intentional. Isometric holds respond better to frequent short efforts than to grinding through long, exhausted reps. Aim for 5 to 8 sets, and every single set, check your shoulders. Are they up? Push them down. Are your knees drifting out? Pull them in. A tuck hold done right is not a beginner exercise. It's a foundation.
Step 4, the one-leg L-sit extension. This is the bridge between the tuck hold and the full L-sit, and most people completely skip it. From your tuck hold, extend one leg straight out while keeping the other tucked. Squeeze that quad. Lock that knee. Hold for 3 seconds, bring it back, switch legs. This does 2 things simultaneously. It trains your hip flexors to hold a straight leg under load, which is the actual demand of the L-sit. And it lets you feel the difference in difficulty between a tucked leg and an extended leg. Because when both legs are extended, that difficulty doubles. So you need to be able to hold one straight leg comfortably for at least 5 seconds before you attempt the full hold. If you can't, you're not ready. And that's okay. Stay at step 4 until you are. Step 5, the full L-sit. You've built the shoulder depression. You've built the hip flexor strength. You've trained the one leg extension. Now here's how you actually execute the full hold. Set your hands slightly behind your hips, not beside them, behind them. This shifts your center of gravity forward and makes the shoulder depression easier to maintain. Depress your shoulders first, then squeeze your quads until your kneecaps are trying to escape up your legs. Then brace your core hard, then lift. Your first goal isn't time. Your first goal is position. Even 1 second in a perfect L-sit is worth more than 10 seconds in a broken one, because perfect reps build perfect patterns, and that's what we're after. Chapter 4, the isometric science most coaches won't explain. Here's the part that surprised me when I first dug into the research. Isometric holds like the L-sit don't just build strength. They build strength at a very specific joint angle. That's called angle-specific strength adaptation. When you hold an isometric contraction, you're training the muscles to generate maximum force at that exact position. But here's the catch. That strength doesn't automatically transfer to other angles. Which means if you're training your L-sit wall,
Legs drooping, torso leaning, you're building strength in the wrong position. And when you try to correct your form later, it feels like starting from scratch. Because neurologically, you're kind of off. This is why form matters from day one. Not just for safety, for actual strength transfer.
And there's another piece of isometric science that directly affects how you should program your LSIT training. Research on isometric strength development consistently shows that short, frequent holds outperform long, infrequent ones, especially for skill-based positions like this. What does that mean practically? Instead of grinding through one 30-second attempt once a week, you want to do 6 to 10 5-second holds 2 or 3 times throughout the day. That frequency of neural signal, that repeated fire this pattern command, is what builds the motor program faster. Think of it like learning a piano chord. You don't hold the chord for 30 seconds once. You play it 10 times in a row, multiple times a day, until your fingers just know where to go. Your nervous system works the same way. Chapter 5, the programming blueprint, exactly what to do this week. Here's your 7-day LSIT correction protocol. Days 1 and 2, scapular depression holds only. 10 reps of 5-second holds, twice a day. That's it. Don't rush to the next step. Days 3 and 4, add the seated single leg raise holds. 3 sets each leg, 10-second holds. Keep doing your shoulder depression work. Day 5, tuck holds. 5 sets of 5-second holds with perfect shoulder depression. Rest 60 seconds between sets. Day 6, 1 leg extension work from the tuck. 3 sets each leg, 3 to 5 seconds. Day 7, attempt the full LSIT. Your only goal is 1 second of perfect position. 1 second. That's the win for week 1. Because 1 perfect second this week becomes 5 next week and 15 the week after. That's how this works. Now, here's the open loop I promised you at the start. Why do elite gymnasts make this look effortless? It's not just that they're stronger, it's that they've done this specific neuromuscular sequence: shoulder depression, quad lock, hip flexor compression, core brace, so many thousands of times that it fires automatically. Their nervous system doesn't have to consciously coordinate 4 separate muscle groups anymore. It just does it. That's called motor automaticity, and it only comes from one thing: perfect repetition over time. Not grinding through bad reps, not pushing through collapsed form. Perfect reps done frequently over weeks. That's the gap between you and the gymnast. Now you know exactly how to close it.
One more thing before we wrap, because I know some of you are going to hit a wall around week 2 or 3 and wonder if something's wrong. Here's what's actually happening. The first week feels like progress because everything is new. The second week feels like a plateau because your muscles are adapting, but your nervous system is still catching up. Don't quit here. This is exactly where 90% of people stop. That's exactly where the real gains start. The neuromuscular adaptation you're building right now is invisible on the outside, but it's the foundation everything else sits on. Push through the plateau. Keep the reps perfect. Keep the frequency high. The breakthrough is closer than you think. Alright, let's bring it home. The LSIT isn't a core exercise. It's a full-body isometric compression hold. It demands shoulder depression, hip flexor strength, quad lockout, and core bracing, all firing simultaneously in a very specific sequence. 90% of people fail it because they're training the wrong pattern, not because they're weak. The
fix is a 5-step progression. Scapular depression holds, seated leg raise holds, tuck holds, one-leg extensions, and finally the full L-sit. Program it with short, frequent holds, not long, grinding sessions. Your one action today, tomorrow, today, is to sit on the floor right now, push your hands down, feel whether your shoulders go up or stay down. That's your diagnostic. That's where your L-sit is actually breaking. Fix that first. Everything else follows. I'll see you in the next one.